world peace. Look, there's another Edomite again. With a gun. You were given the birthright of the sword, man. And this is what you do with the sword, right here. Good job. Good job.
Bursting from the thick cover, the furious cat charges directly for White House.
Look at that. A big male.
No shot from the head. Ronnie saves himself from the terrible.
Oh my God.
He's even nothing more than a healthy dose of lion slaughter.
And again, this is why the book calls you the devil that the Bible speaks of. Chill out. Yeah.
This is Famous Black Theory. Subscribe to my channel. And like. Today we're going to talk about these Caucasians killing us. The people from the Caucasus Mountains, the blue-eyed devils. The reason why they're doing this is because they can, and because they know they're going to get off with what they're doing. But their time is up. The reason why they're going crazy and the damn food. And damn time is up. There ain't nothing they can do about it. The Bible speaks of it. So, they know it. They almost been reading the Bible, because all of them acting up at the same damn time. Elected. White men in this country are so insecure. They're inferior in every way, except their willingness to be hateful to black people. White men are inferior to black men in every way, and they know it. They aren't physically strong enough. They aren't sexually as strong. There is nothing strong about a white man without a gun. And that's why they got pissed off, because Obama got elected, and they had to serve under a black president. And I say we band together and make them serve under another black fucking president. Make them serve under nothing but black presidents until the rest of time. That would be great. Wouldn't that be great? That would be great, motherfucking white people.
We want to call ourselves being part of the solution. Part of the solution against racism on this planet. I've got a simple test that will determine your loyalty and expose which side you're really on. If you have to make a choice between the survival of the African collective and the survival of the European collective, which side do you choose? Now, most white people who are hearing this right now are in the process, if you haven't already come up with an answer, you're in the process of coming up with some sort of rebuttal to indicate that you don't have to choose sides, that you're for everyone. Well, if you're for everyone, then you're not for black people first. You're for creating a solution that's going to ensure your own survival. Unless you're dedicating your life to making sure that every black person on this planet survives. And unless you're putting yourself in front of the bullet when cops are shooting innocent black and brown people, unless you're in Africa working against the genocides that are all perpetuated by European economic imperialism, you're not doing anything to protect black folks. And you can't conceive of a solution that doesn't involve the survival of white people. It's not one group to survive over another. And if you really understood the way that African and indigenous people get down and have always gotten down on this planet, they've never been about killing other groups of people. They've never even been about taking revenge on us for all the hundreds of millions of people that we've killed. But at some point, if you had to make that choice, 99.9999999% of you would never choose any solution that could possibly lead to you or your family not surviving this. White liberals will only support a solution to the problem that involves the survival of white people, and not just physically, financially. How many of you are willing to dedicate your entire life to ending racism? When you get an inheritance based on the opportunities that your grandparents had, or your great-grandparents had, or the murders that your ancestors committed, the land that they stole, the labor that they stole that they never repaid back, Wall Street that was built on the back, in fact, the entire economic foundations of the European collective that was built on the back of enslaving and exploiting everyone else on the planet, that allowed you to receive that inheritance. Are you willing to share that money? Or do you feel you don't owe it because you're not a racist? Let me tell you something. White supremacy is not even about racism anymore. White supremacy is about power. It's about control. It's about money. It's ownership of resources. And yeah, sure, a lot of us are racist. There's a lot of white people who hate black people. There's a lot of white people who fear black people. Most of us do. But at the end of the day, we could all love black people. We could have black friends. We could, all of that. Are you willing to give up your money? The stolen money? The money that your family stole? You could unlearn all of your unconscious biases as much as you can. You can learn how to treat black people with respect in the office. You can go to protests. You can do all of that, but unless you're willing to part with the resources that were stolen from African people, from indigenous people on this planet, and you're holding on to stolen property, and therefore you are part of the white collective. You are part of the white supremacist pan-European collective. And it's time that we stop lying about this shit.
Terminate the suit. They are to be treated as maniacs or wild beasts, and by no means as people with whom treaties or compromise can be made. Just 3 years later, in 1871, the U.S. government seeks to recognize Indian nations as sovereign and independent with the passage of the Indian Appropriation Act. This legislation legalized the theft of our treaty-protected lands and further threatened our way of life with our buffalo relatives. The civilization of the Indians is impossible while the buffalo remained upon the plains. The mass slaughter of our buffalo relatives, the Tatanka Oyate, lasted from 1871 until 1910. In just the first 7 years, buffalo hunters decimated the great herds of buffalo, nearly to extinction. The U.S. Army encouraged the slaughter by providing free ammunition and supplies. In 1873 alone, buffalo hunters massacred more than 1.5 million buffalo.
First and foremost, I want to give all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Bakafonash. Glory to the Most High Yahweh.
All praise
Son
to the
Yahweh.
Creator.
Double honors to the elders, great millstone, the new world, who taught this truth.
What the hell?
Salutations.
All praise to the Creator only and nobody else. Forget all the other crap he said besides that. He tried to talk all that other bullshit he tried to say.